There is so much that we do to protect ourselves, to survive. That is the number one priority of our nervous system. So that means when we're babies and trying to attune to our caregivers and have our needs met, when they are not met or when we are not attuned with, our system responds in such a way to survive. So when we are little beings and we don't have choice and we're helpless, we we can't go, we can't run away, right? We can't we can't run away. We cannot go get our own food. So we depend on other people. And if other people aren't helping us with our survival, we're going to do things. Our reaction in our nervous system is towards survival. For example, there's a vagal break. So if I'm a baby and I'm born and I'm screaming and crying and terrified and I don't know what's going on, and eventually my heart rate would keep increasing and I would continue to be overly activated. And then the vagal brake kicks in and I shut down. My heart rate, boom, slows way down and it's a collapse. It's a shutdown, which is comes after on the hierarchy, according to polyvagal theory, of our defensive responses or um, adaptations. We are going to then shut down. Now, if we have a nervous system in childhood that is not safe, that just detects danger all the time, and we are chronically activated, our system is going to typically run activated. That means it's going to be pretty high anxiety, high mobility, high stress, high action often. Sometimes that's going to look like high stress, high anxiety, high mobility, freeze, shut down. Sometimes that's going to look like freeze for a really long time. Sometimes that's going to look like real hard effort, shut down, get back up, real hard effort, shut down. Okay. And so a dysregulated nervous system is something that is a survival threat. Just like we are going to dissociate if there is something in our when we are young that we can or old that we cannot tolerate in our environment, we're gonna go away from our prefrontal cortex, our neocortex, our thoughts, and we're gonna just be based in reaction. Blood flow is gonna be going towards our defensive, whatever we need at the time to survive. And so when we aren't in homeostasis ever, we're never really fully restoring. It's really hard to get back to a baseline without real intention. And so things like addiction help us numb. So addiction, for example, is actually a brilliant mechanism, adaptation by our nervous system to slow down, to change the state that we're in that we currently feel is a survival threat. It's intolerable. And so I have to change my state or I'm not going to survive. That's the wisdom of our nervous system. And the importance of understanding this is because shame is what is the biggest uh, killer. It's shame. It's shame and not seeking help and not talking about it and viewing addiction as a pathology or a moral failing or all of these things, even a disease. Addiction is actually a very, very brilliant nervous system adaptation to get into a state where we feel we can survive. It's quite simple. And it's a patterned response. and it's patterned response. So if we as clinicians have someone who comes in and that's what their symptom is, right? Then we're going to try to extinguish the behavior. We're actually extinguishing what is keeping them to survival, what they're using to survive, what their nervous system currently uses as a life raft, okay? And so instead, we need to destigmatize it so that there's not so much shame. And then we need to bring in a sense of safety. Now, here is the risk if we don't. When we stop one thing, addiction of substances, for example, I was sober I got sober in 2014, and I was sober for 18 months until I relapsed. And I had replaced drinking with running. So I was running over 100 miles a week. I was uh, just very obsessed with running. And because I was running so much, I injured myself. The day I was injured is the day I relapsed, and I did just relapse a little. I relapsed and ended up in the hospital for several months, needing to relearn how to walk and talk and think. And it was terrifying. And wow, I thought I really permanently disabled myself. And it was terrifying, like I said. And yet it wasn't, my system still was not done with using alcohol to change states because I still didn't have a replacement. I still didn't heal the root of what I needed to change states because of, which was chronic activation. I was born 2 months early. I was in an incubator. I did not, the vestibular system is is very early on embryo development, but when we're born, we have like, there's still orienting to do to find to develop. And so I never had the opportunity to lay on my mom's chest and kind of sync with her heart rhythm and the body temperature regulation. So that is something that has impacted me. And then she also was explosive and scary sometimes. And so that too impacted me. And I became hyper attuned to tone of voice. You may experience what I'm describing. Things like people pleasing come from such adaptations, appeasement. There's we our nervous system is brilliant, and so it will do what it needs to do to survive. And even if that is killing us, it until we intervene to update our whole system and it knows differently, it's going to use what it always has used in its pathway. Like that's what our neural pathway is. And so our brain is neuroplastic, not if we're filled with shame. Shame is a biological dead end and means we are in a chronic threat response from the shame. It means there's not going to be neuroplasticity available. We're not going to be flexible. So stigmatizing and reducing shame around addiction because uh, first of all, I mean, because that's how we're going to transform, but also because we should acknowledge the brilliance of our nervous system rather than shaming it. We knew how to survive instinctually based on like we changed state whatever way we needed to get into a place that was okay, safe enough that we could survive. So I invite you to appreciate a little, if you can, those behaviors that sometimes really cause harm and understand that there is a root to them that we can understand and get to. And even if there's not, we can release shock and do a lot of stabilization and start to heal from the bottom up our nervous system and begin to change states regularly, intentionally, and also work on coming back to the present moment where healing happens.